Hi, and welcome back to My Verbal Journal, where we talk about wellness in all aspects of life, from mental health to nutrition, fitness to life as a 20 something, and just simple chit chat. I'm Macy, your host, and this is what goes on in my head. So, thanks for tuning in this week. If you're watching this, hello, and welcome to my college room here in Fort Worth at TCU. This is my first time doing video, but I'm trying to keep up with what people want. Personally, I only listen to podcasts and I don't watch them, but I get why people want to watch, so I guess let's make this a little nutrition education FaceTime call because today's episode is part 2 of the Nutrition Basics series, and we are going to be diving in to protein, from the science behind it to high protein breakfast and snack inspiration, and everything. But before we get into the episode, I'm going to give a little life update and then share my segment on what I've been loving lately, and then an unpopular opinion that I have. So basically, I'm finally getting into the thick of school and kind of establishing a routine here, which is nice, but I'm also insanely busy. I started working as a personal trainer in the rec center at my school, and I love working with clients and helping them reach their fitness goals. I actually have my initial assessment with my first client in 2 days. So today's Wednesday when I'm recording this, so it'll be on Friday, which I'm super excited about. And then I've also been tutoring for microbiology of human disease, and I'm a teacher's assistant as well, which is awesome because I can help other students, but it's also kind of like helping me remember everything from the class because I just found that class insanely interesting. And so kind of going back over the material and like learning it again I feel like I'm just getting so much more out of it. But basically the class is just about like human disease and all the details of the roles bacteria plays and how our immune system works. And yeah, I won't bore you with the details, especially if you're not into sciencey stuff. But I also have to take a class on the gut microbiome next year, which I'm so hyped for. So this is like good to have a super solid foundation going into that class. But yeah, this is my room here at college if you're watching this. It's not done yet. I haven't finished decorating. I don't know what I'm doing with like that wall back there. There's like a picture on the ground. Also, there's like clothes on my bed. So sorry. I also like today is hair wash day and I have no makeup on, so my apologies, but you can see the neon sign right there. It says do it for you, not them. It's just like a quote that has been like a screensaver on the back of my phone, so I just like made a custom sign on Amazon. It wasn't that expensive, but yeah, they did a really good job and it shipped super fast, and you can customize basically whatever font you want, whatever color you want, and yeah. And then my mom and my grandma actually set up the vines that you can see behind, and because I couldn't figure out what I wanted behind my bed. But anyways, I've been that's gonna make no sense if you're literally listening to this on audio. Like, I'm sorry, but we can get back into things. I have basically just been super busy getting back into routine, kind of finding what works. Because, like, when you get back to school, it's always so frustrating and, like, overwhelming to, like, obviously, like, you have a schedule and, like, you have your classes and all of that stuff. But the in between, like, when should I eat? Oh, am I going to have enough time to walk there? Should I drive? Like, all of those little details. When am I going to work out? Like, trying to plan that the first few weeks can be super stressful, and you like make mistakes and then you're like running late and then you don't know where everything is. So I feel like I'm finally kind of figuring it out. It was just Labor Day weekend this past weekend, so we didn't have class Monday, which was really nice because I have a Monday night class that goes from 6:30 to 9 p.m. and that was canceled this week because of Labor Day. So that is definitely a plus. But yeah, I love being super busy because I feel like that's just how I've been my entire life. And sometimes, like, when I get free time, I feel like uncomfortable. Do you guys feel that? Like, you don't know what to do with yourself. Like, when you don't have homework or like anything to do, you're just like, okay, so yeah. It makes me super uncomfortable. So I kind of like running around and always knowing what I'm going to be doing next and all of that stuff, even though it can be super overwhelming. So I can't complain too much because I put all of it on myself. But now we can get into the little segments. So something I've been loving lately, I've been obsessed with the Define. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen that brand. It's like a workout set brand, DFYNE. But their Ignite workout sets that just recently came out. It's like they have like a few different like types. I think they have like the Dynamic, the Impact, and then the Ignite. But I just ordered the Ignite workout set in pink, and the sports bra and the shorts are literally so comfortable and they're so flattering. Especially if you have like a smaller chest like I do, the bra is like perfect. And I literally wore it once and ordered 2 more sets in different colors the next day. So I got it in pink, and then I got it in black and purple. And I literally have to like refrain myself from buying more, even though because I just want it in every color. But they are like $50 a set, but I mean, for each piece. But if you're looking for a new workout set brand, highly, highly recommend Define. And a lot of people have codes so you can get money off. I think I used Haley Cordova's code. I think it was HALEYC with a capital H and a capital C. But if you just look on TikTok, a lot of people have codes for Define. So definitely recommend checking them out. And then I guess another thing I've been loving is just the colder, rainy weather that we've been having here in Texas the past few days. I'm not sure if it'll still be that way when this episode comes out 2 weeks from now. It probably won't be. But for right now, I'm loving the little break from the 100-degree weather because I really, really miss living in Boston and Colorado during fall because you can like feel the seasons change and just like all the leaves on the trees changing and falling. And then in Texas, it kind of just always feels the same. So I'm definitely looking forward to Thanksgiving and winter break back home in Colorado because I just love the fall time. Like, I'm such a fall girl. Like, I get people love the summer and like, yeah, I like the summer, but honestly, I'm not big on like beaches and like pools and all that stuff. So, and like, I like being warm, but at the same time, like, there's just something about like a cup of hot tea in the fall, like with a blanket, watching Gilmore Girls, like that. I love it. But Texas, unfortunately, is humid and hot all the time, or it's rainy and windy. So, anyways, those are 2 things I've been loving lately. I don't really have any other like products or anything to like recommend right now. So I guess I'll just go into one of my unpopular opinions, which I know is going to get some hate, but I hate peanut butter. It is repulsive. I hate the smell, I hate the taste, and I hate the texture. Everything about it just grosses me out. I think it ruins chocolate, like Reese's. No, disgusting. It overtakes the taste of everything that it's mixed with, and it's so sticky. Like, I would actually rather do anything than be forced to eat a spoonful of peanut butter. Like, I hate it so much. I thought by like I was trying to rearrange my macros and like add more fats, healthy fats and like stuff like that in. And so I thought like maybe adding it to a smoothie would like, I wouldn't be able to taste it with like the fruit and the protein powder, but no. It ruined my entire smoothie. The entire thing tasted like peanut butter, and I literally had to throw it away, and I wasted the entire thing, which I felt really guilty about. But it just overtook the entire smoothie. I was like, oh, or maybe like a chocolate banana with like a little bit of peanut butter. Like, I won't be able to taste it. No, the entire thing tasted like peanut butter. I think peanut butter is so overhyped, and have just like never been a fan of it. So I know peanut butter contains like a lot of, as like a nutrition major, it's probably like not recommended for me to let, it's probably like very unpopular opinion, but I know peanut butter contains like many high nutritional qualities. It has healthy fats, it has a little bit of protein, but I've tried multiple times and I just cannot get myself to like it. So that's enough about what I hate. So let's get into the episode, and I'm going to let you guys know everything you need to know about protein. Protein has been hella trending lately in the media, with more and more people trying to up their protein intake and build muscle. And I love that protein has become a higher priority for people because it's so vital for so many aspects of our health. But at the same time, it's really important to understand what protein is, the different types of protein, and what its function is in our bodies. Because many people don't actually know how much protein they should be eating, or what foods have protein and how much they contain. And it's also really, really important to recognize that protein is not the whole picture. Carbohydrates and fats are also essential and need to be prioritized. Like everything, it's all about balance. And for a long time, I was really prioritizing protein, and I was eating plenty of it, probably too much. But I was also neglecting the other two macronutrients, carbs and fat. And so I was failing to see muscle growth, and I was so confused because I was like, I'm eating protein, right? Like, I should be like getting stronger, and I'm lifting weights. Like, what the hell? And I wasn't getting any of the other health benefits from protein because I wasn't consuming the other macronutrients. So all of my protein that I was eating was being broken down into glucose to be used as energy instead of being used for its main roles and what it's really meant to do in our bodies. So while carbs' number one role is to provide us with energy, protein has many different functions. And as a last resort, if you don't get enough energy from carbs and other sources, then it will be broken down into glucose for energy. So what does protein do for us? Protein is made up of amino acids and acts as building blocks for most of our body structures. So most people think of muscle repair or muscle growth when they think of protein. And while yes, protein does help with this, it also has a ton of other important roles that should not be forgotten about. It does a bunch of things like replacing dead cells, forming connective tissues, and mending tissues like ligaments and tendons. And proteins also act as enzymes, which speed up chemical reactions, aiding in digestive and metabolic processes. And then they even help protect us from disease in the form of antibodies. And many proteins are also hormones, which help our bodies adapt to changes and send signals to our brains so our bodies can properly respond. These hormones include things like insulin, glucagon, and even sex hormones like estrogen and testosterone. And then there are also transport proteins and proteins that aid with blood clotting, and there are even proteins that help with vision. So, as you can tell, proteins have a ton of important roles in our bodies. However, like I mentioned before, I can't stress this enough, it's important that when we don't consume enough carbohydrates, these proteins are just being broken down into glucose, and they're unable to do all of those other things because they're just being used as energy. So, now that we kind of understand that, let's take a step back and understand what a protein even is. So chemically, it's a compound made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen, which are arranged into amino acids and linked into a chain. So you may have learned that amino acids are the building blocks of proteins, and you may have heard the term essential amino acid at some point and wondered what exactly does that mean. So if you listened to part 1 of the Nutrition Basics series, you might recall that an essential nutrient is one that cannot be synthesized by the body. And so this concept also applies to amino acids. So an essential nutrient can't be synthesized in the body, so it must be consumed through the diet. And that's the same with essential amino acids. So while there are 500 amino acids that have been identified in nature, only 20 of them make up protein in foods. And then only 9 of those 20 are considered essential. So while your body needs all 20 amino acids found in protein, the 9 essential amino acids must be obtained through foods because your body can't produce them on its own. So 11 amino acids are labeled non-essential, and then the other 9 are labeled as essential. So how do we know that we're getting all 9 of these essential amino acids in our diet? Well, we have to make sure that we are eating what are known as complete proteins. So in order for a food to be considered a complete protein, it must contain all 9 essential amino acids in relatively the same amounts people require. So protein from animal products, things like meat, eggs, and dairy products are all considered high quality complete proteins. And then protein from plant sources kind of vary in which amino acids they contain and in what amounts. So this is why people who follow a vegetarian or a vegan diet need to be educated on protein to ensure that they are getting adequate amounts of all 9 of those essential amino acids, since they don't eat meat or vegans don't eat any animal products. That being said, complete proteins aren't considered good, and then incomplete proteins aren't considered quote unquote bad. Both are extremely important, and it isn't like a black and white thing. Many incomplete proteins, such as whole grains, legumes, nuts, and even vegetables, yes, shocker, vegetables do contain protein. All of these things offer many other important vitamins and minerals that benefit our health. And then another unique incomplete protein is actually from an animal source and comes in the form of collagen, which you may be familiar with. Sorry, I am like dying of thirst right now. Ew, that probably sounded really gross in the mic. So my apologies. Like, I'm going to have to like listen back to that. I might have to cut that out because what the fuck. Anyways, collagen. So collagen is the most abundant protein in the body, and it's super important for the structure of your skin, your bones, your muscles, and connective tissues. And collagen is considered incomplete because it lacks the essential amino acid tryptophan, which is one of the 9 essential amino acids. So collagen supplements seem to kind of be like being super hyped up and in the media right now, specifically geared towards many women, I feel like, are being told to take collagen because they're like, oh, it's going to reduce aging and improve your skin, your nails, and your hair, and make your hair thicker and your nails longer, and oh, you're going to look younger, blah, blah, blah. And as we know, the market for products that will reduce quote unquote symptoms or signs of aging is like, it's an extremely profitable market and super appealing in a society that values a woman's ability to look young for as long as possible. That being said, the reality is there hasn't been any research that actually proves that taking collagen supplements will improve your hair, skin, or nails and reduce aging symptoms. So I would say save your money unless your doctor has specifically told you your body's collagen production has dropped and that a supplement would be beneficial and safe to take. Sometimes a collagen supplement can be used for women in menopause, as like their estrogen decreases, the production of collagen also decreases in the body. naturally, so they're not producing enough collagen, so a supplement's going to help make up for that. But I mean, most of you listening, I don't think are near menopause. Shout out to you if you're an older listener, but I feel like most of my base, they're mostly in their 20s. So I would not waste your money on a collagen supplement. One cool thing about collagen is there actually have been some studies shown that specific collagen peptides have been able to increase the bone density in postmenopausal women who are suffering from age-related bone loss. So if you're younger, generally healthy adult, and you have a well-balanced diet, and your body will be getting plenty of nutrients to produce enough collagen naturally, and collagen from food sources are always going to be better than supplemental forms, so the extra supplemental collagen definitely isn't necessary. So that's enough on collagen. Not anything that you necessarily need to know, but regardless, I find it super interesting. So always talk to your doctor before jumping on the bandwagon and spending money on a supplement that the media is promoting. Please don't just buy things because 10 people on TikTok told you to. So let's talk about why it's important to consume foods that contain all 9 essential amino acids. So when there's an imbalance of amino acids in the foods that you're consuming, protein synthesis is like super limited, and a lot of the amino acids are just going to be wasted and basically excreted in our urine. So by consuming complete proteins, that's a great way to ensure you're getting what your body needs. So things like meat, yogurt, milk, eggs, great foods to be consistently consuming. That being said, vegetarians and vegans obviously don't consume those foods. Completely fine. That's where we get into complementary proteins. And that will kind of ensure that they're getting the right amounts. And there are actually some non-animal product proteins that are considered complete. And these are foods like tofu, tempeh, edamame, or other like soy-based products. So those are great options. But let's talk about what a complementary protein is. So that's going to be 2 food sources that, when eaten together, contain all 9 essential amino acids in the right quantities. Not because they're eaten like at the same time, but if they're eaten in the same day, you eat them together, like you don't have to be eating them at the same time. But basically, this food has, let's say, 5 of the essential amino acids in the right amounts, and the other amino acids maybe not as much, or maybe it's missing one. But then this other food is super high in those other 5 amino acids that this food doesn't have. So an example of that is rice and beans. Another example is peanut butter and bread. So good news for all of you PB&J lovers. Couldn't be me. So it's completely possible and realistic for vegans and vegetarians to get adequate high quality protein without consuming any animal products. They just kind of have to be more educated, more aware on what to eat and in what amounts. So clearly protein is important, and you know what foods contain protein, but you're probably wondering, like, how much protein should I actually be consuming? Because, and I know many people like track macros and they're prioritizing protein more nowadays, and tracking can be a super great tool. However, I understand that it can be triggering for some people who have struggled with their relationship with food. But yeah, it's super important to kind of just have like a good general idea of how much protein you're consuming and how much you should be consuming. So, like carbs, proteins also provide 4 calories per gram. And the recommended dietary allowance of protein that people should be consuming is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. So, and for another reference, it's 10 to 35% of your daily caloric intake that should be protein. So just as a refresher, 45 to 65% of your caloric intake should be from carbohydrates. So you shouldn't focus on only increasing protein intake because like balance is key. So for a 2,000 calorie diet, 200 to 700 calories should come from protein, and that's equal to 50 to 175 grams of protein. So that's a pretty wide range, like 50 grams versus 175 grams. That's a wide range. So a lot of that depends on your activity level. Protein needs can vary greatly. So if you're more active and you participate in weightlifting or other types of resistance training or exercise or running, your needs are going to be on the higher end of that spectrum. So the American College of Sports Medicine and the Food and Nutrition Board of the Institute of Medicine recommend that active adults consume 1.2 to 1.7 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So that's obviously more than the RDA, which is 0.8 grams per kilogram. And 1.2 to 1.7 grams of protein per kilogram equates to half a gram to 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. So let's say you're a 130 pound female who is active. Hitting 100 grams of protein is a great goal to have. So you maybe have heard in the past, like, you need 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight that you have, but that much is not needed or beneficial. That's too much. And consuming more protein than recommended it's not going to give you an advantage in any way. And it can actually have negative implications, eating too much protein. Basically, when you eat more protein than your body needs, it places a lot of stress on the kidneys and can actually lead to chronic kidney disease. So some of those symptoms of consuming too much protein include, like, you'll have a lot of intestinal discomfort, you'll have headaches, you'll be nauseous, you'll be super fatigued. And I know, like, the carnivore diet has been a huge trend right now, and protein is being placed on, like, this pedestal. Sorry, I need more water. I'll like step away from the mic so you don't have to hear this, like, drinking. Okay. Hopefully that wasn't as bad as last time. But yeah, it's great to prioritize protein. And I know that, like, a lot of people struggle to eat enough protein. But it's also important to educate yourself before trying a new diet, or, like, making drastic changes, like going to the carnivore diet, just because media trends get skewed and blown out of proportion. So safe bet. Aim to get between 10 and 35% of your daily calories from protein, and make sure that you're getting that from complete proteins, or that you're eating complementary proteins to make up a complete protein. And if you're more active, be on the upper end of that percentage spectrum, because your body's going to need that extra protein to repair muscle fibers and so you can get proper recovery. So in order to know if you're getting the right amount of protein, it's important to have just, like, a general knowledge on how much protein certain foods contain. And portion sizes are a huge thing that so many people often get wrong, because in the United States, we've been served, like, large portions of meat on a regular basis, and that has become, like, our normal. That being said, one serving of meat is actually only 3 to 4 ounces. And most restaurants serve upwards of, like, 6 to 12 ounces in one meal. So 4 ounces of chicken, beef, pork, fish, 4 ounces of meat contains between 25 and 35 grams of protein. So when you eat out and you order, like, a steak or even just a general meal, they tend to put a lot more protein and a lot more meat on it than 3 to 4 ounces. You're probably consuming upwards of 50 grams of protein and don't even realize it. And many people also fail to realize that plant products like fruits, vegetables, grains, and beans do in fact contain protein. Although it's a lot smaller amounts, they still have protein. So 1 cup of cooked brown rice, which is half a cup of dry rice, has 5 grams of protein. And then fruits and vegetables tend to have about 1 to 2 grams of protein per serving. And like, I know that's not a lot, but it does matter. And it's just like a good general thing to know. So let's kind of talk about how to prioritize protein and ensure you're getting the right amount. I say generally, it's a good rule of thumb to aim for 30 grams of protein in your breakfast, because protein it'll help you stay full and satiated for so much longer. And it's super important to start your day with a clear mind and proper fuel. And I know a lot of people struggle to get enough protein in the mornings because obviously you're not going to wake up in the morning and heat up a steak. I mean, if you do, no judgment here, girl. Like, get your fucking gains, like, slay. But I'd say most people are going to tend to lean towards quote-unquote breakfast foods. Oh, sorry. And one huge problem for people is that they tend to, like, drink caffeine on an empty stomach. Like, they're waking up and they're cracking that fucking Celsius, or they're pouring that coffee. And doing that on an empty stomach, recipe for disaster, let me tell you. Not only is it's gonna decrease their appetite, or even if they just like consume it with some carbs in the morning, maybe you're just like, I mean, that's better than an empty stomach, so I'm not gonna shit on it, but you're kind of gonna have like a large blood sugar spike, like a rise and then a fall, if you don't consume protein in the morning. So how are we going to get that 30 grams of protein at breakfast? Honestly, there are so many ways. Personally, I'm a huge fan of eggs in the morning. I've shared with you guys, I think it was in my episode with Tegan, what my go-to breakfast is that I have literally been eating for over 2 years straight and have never gotten sick of. Literally look forward to it every single day. It never fucking misses. And some days when I like am in a rush and I can't eat it in the morning, I will literally make it at like 3 p.m. Like, I do not care. So yeah, you can listen to my episode with Tegan. We give some other recipes, but basically it's just sourdough with cottage cheese, avocado, spinach, an egg, 2 egg whites, and ham, and of course sriracha and everything but the bagel seasoning. Absolutely delicious. But anyways, that being said, I understand most people are in a rush in the mornings and don't have time to make a full-blown breakfast. But that's why I'm going to give you guys plenty of quick options that will provide that 30 grams of protein, even if you're eating on the go. So, number 1, yogurt bowls. Great way to get your protein in. 3/4 cup of Greek yogurt contains about 15 grams of protein, and adding in some chia seeds, some protein granola, some peanut butter if you like that stuff, or even mixing in some protein powder. Great way to hit that 30 gram mark. Another great option is overnight oats. I buy the protein oats from Red Mill, and they sell them at Sprouts, and it has 10 grams of protein per serving. Plus, if you put milk in it, that adds a few grams of protein. And then you can also like stir in protein powder, add peanut butter, add some Greek yogurt, add some chia seeds, some nuts, whatever else you like that will get you a good amount of protein in the morning. And then another easy option is a protein smoothie. And there's so many recipes for smoothies and protein powders, different protein powders and stuff like that. And you don't need protein powder, but I think that it can be a really great resource if you find yourself struggling to get enough protein in. And then I actually have a few of my go-to smoothie recipes on the podcast Instagram. The recipes posted if you want some inspiration. But I know like Pinterest, literally, there are so many smoothie recipes and they're so quick and easy. I have like the Ninja blender thing, and it doesn't create a mess because you literally are just creating the smoothie in the cup, that you're drinking it out of. Perfect for on the go. You can even like freeze smoothies overnight and then allow them to thaw in the morning. So that's an option if you're really in a rush. But yeah. Another thing that many people don't realize is that one egg contains 7 grams of protein, but 4 of those 7 grams is coming from the egg white alone. And one egg white only has 17 calories. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, I can't eat like 3 eggs because the cholesterol in the yolk, blah, blah, blah. But mixing egg whites into your eggs is such a great resource, and they just sell them in like a carton. So I love mixing in egg whites to my egg. But yeah, another great option are hard-boiled eggs, super good on the go. Not to mention there are a ton of brands like Kodiak that have come out with protein waffles and protein pancakes. They even have gluten-free ones now. And those are super quick and easy to make or just pop in the toaster. There are also a lot of high-quality protein shakes already made you can bring with you. There's like the Core Power Fairlife shakes. Those have 26 grams of protein. The Alani ones, I think some of them have 20, some of them have 30 grams. So, and then if you're someone who really, really never has an appetite in the mornings, try adding protein powder into your coffee in the morning so you don't experience that huge blood sugar spike and energy crash. I know there are some, like, I don't know the names of the brands, but there are some specific products that have like come out specifically for coffee because they blend in better and they taste better. So I definitely look into that. And like I said, protein powder is a great tool, but it also isn't needed for you to consume enough protein because I know protein powders can be expensive. So it's completely possible and reasonable to get plenty of protein from food itself throughout the day in your meals. But if you're picky or you're constantly busy, I think it is super helpful to invest in a high quality protein powder that kind of works for you. Personally, I love Truvani's plant-based protein, and I love the Equip Prime protein, which is animal-based, but it doesn't upset my stomach at all. So yeah, when looking for a protein powder, it's really important to look at the ingredients and kind of stay away from ones that include fillers like xanthan gum, dextrins, vegetable oils, and generally just any ingredient that you can't pronounce or that you haven't heard of, because these ingredients tend to cause a lot of gastrointestinal discomfort, a lot of bloating, diarrhea, and just generally elevate inflammation, and they're just not good for your body. So finding a good quality protein powder can be super beneficial, especially if you find it difficult to get enough protein in your daily diet. And I know they can be expensive, but they do tend to last like a really long time. And so I think it's really worth it. Even as someone who is a college student and I pay for my own groceries, I will spend the extra money on a high quality protein powder. But yeah, the point is getting enough protein in the morning is super important for balancing blood sugar and feeling energized and full so you don't experience that mid-morning crash or like feel the need to constantly be snacking or have to take an afternoon nap. So yeah, that's kind of breakfast. Now let's kind of talk about some snacks and how to make a balanced snack that doesn't leave you feeling hungry 30 minutes later. So many people tend to gravitate towards quick prepackaged snacks, or they look for something that's super low in calories just to tide them over until their next meal. I mean, I think we've all had a snack and then been confused or almost felt a sense of shame like 30 minutes later when we get hungry again, especially if you have struggled with your relationship with food in the past like I have. You've probably experienced the internal turmoil of like that back and forth debating if you should eat more or just wait until lunch or wait until dinner. So you sit there for another hour feeling hungry, and the only thing on your mind is literally just food. So, sorry, I need water. First of all, if your body is sending hunger signals, it means that it needs food, and you should never question whether or not that you should listen to those signals or ignore them. You are not gaining anything from not eating. You aren't superior to anyone because you ate less. You aren't achieving anything. You aren't exercising a sense of self-discipline by avoiding your hunger cues and not eating. Literally, you're only hurting yourself, and you're letting those toxic thoughts control you. And I promise you, your body is so smart. So please listen to it and honor it, because it does so much for you, and it knows what it needs, and it will tell you. That being said, let's talk about some good snack options that will actually fulfill your cravings and leave you feeling satiated. So, protein bars are often like a go-to for people, but many protein bars have a lot of added fillers and sugar alcohols that can cause a lot of stomach discomfort and inflammation. And a lot of them honestly just taste like shit, let's be real. I remember I was at an airport and they only had Quest bars, and I was like, oh, this looks good, like fudge brownie Quest bar, okay, 20 grams of protein, like perfect. Literally halfway through the bar, I literally had to shit my pants. Like, the sugar alcohol's in it, my body was not used to it, and I thought I was going to die. I was like, I can't just go shit myself in the airplane bathroom. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do right now? Horrible experience. Don't recommend. I stay away from all protein bars that contain sugar alcohols. Anyways, there are a lot of other ways to have a snack that is made of real food sources that have plenty of protein and actually taste good. So, cutting up some fruit and then pairing it with a meat stick is a great way to balance carbs and protein. Archers and Chomps are two great brands for those like beef or turkey sticks. And then hard-boiled eggs, string cheese, apples, and nut butter, also great ways to create a balanced snack. I also love the Lesser Evil popcorn, and you can pair that with nuts. Trail mix is always quick and easy. You can buy it prepackaged or make a big batch on your own and add whatever you want. Greek yogurt or cottage cheese with fruit, granola, whole grain crackers and vegetables with hummus, dates filled with peanut butter, chia pudding, grapes with some cheese and turkey and almonds. The list goes on. So many ways to get a high quality snack that has nutritional value and will actually fill you up and provide you with energy instead of just like eating a little thing of goldfish and you get that quick blood sugar spike and then that drop. So it's super important to consume enough protein, but why is it important, and what kind of happens when we don't consume enough protein? So when you're not getting enough protein, you're obviously going to feel fatigued. Some symptoms, you might experience swelling because protein prevents fluid buildup. You might have mood swings. Those are going to be super common because the neurotransmitters in our brains are actually made up of amino acids. So, not to mention, you'll also just be lacking enough calories if you don't eat enough protein, and you'll probably just constantly be feeling hungry, which is going to make you agitated and cause a lot of mood changes. And then other physical symptoms include thinning hair, brittle nails, and dry, flaky skin. You may not be able to heal wounds as quickly, and you may be constantly getting sick and just overall feel weak. Protein deficiency has a wide variety of signs and symptoms because, like I said earlier, protein has so many different important roles in our body. So consuming enough protein is not only essential to maintaining healthy bodily functions, but it also just plays a huge role in blood sugar balance because it helps slow glucose absorption, and it works with other nutrients like fiber-rich carbs and healthy fats to kind of create this symphony and maintain a stable blood sugar and help you feel satiated throughout the day. So, I hope this helped. you guys understand protein on a deeper level and gave you a better idea of how you can ensure you're getting enough protein. Personally, just to sum it up, I like to include a good balance of animal and plant proteins, just to make sure I'm getting all essential amino acids while also getting those other important vitamins, minerals, and specifically fiber from those plant-based foods. So I make sure to get 30 grams of protein in before 11 a.m. and I plan smacks. Can I speak? Smacks. I plan snacks that are nutrient dense and tend to contain about like 10 to 20 grams of protein. And then I also make sure I'm eating correct portion sizes of meats, and not over consuming meats, because I like to do it. I do eat meat. I don't think I could ever be a vegan or vegetarian. That being said, I also like to include a good balance of a lot of plant-based foods. And so I also invest in high quality protein powders that don't contain those added fillers, like I said. But yeah, I don't think you need to stress too much about it. I know that media is preaching like protein this, protein that, high protein, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is you're probably already getting enough protein, and you don't need to be constantly stressing or choosing a certain food just because it has a high protein content. Aim to consume whole, real foods rather than running to prepackaged, ultra-processed, high-protein foods that have a ton of ingredients you can't even pronounce. There's so many like simple and yummy ways to get protein from whole foods, even if you're always on the go. The trick, and I know you've heard it before, get ahead of the game and pack snacks, prep them in advance, rather than stopping at a drive-thru for breakfast or a gas station for a snack. And make sure that you're really looking at nutrition labels, because something might be advertised as, oh, this has 20 grams of protein. And you might be like, oh, cool, this is 20 grams of protein and it's only like 100 calories. Awesome, like healthy. No. Let's look at the ingredients. How are they able to make that so low in calories and so high in protein? Like, it's probably going to have a lot of added fillers that aren't necessarily good for you, and you would be better off just eating real whole foods, even if it's higher in calories. Your body's going to need that, and it's going to fuel you for longer. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for part 2 of the Nutrition Basics series. Share this with a friend if you found it helpful, and leave a rating or review, and make sure to follow the show to get notified when a new episode comes out. New episodes drop every other Wednesday, and for more content, you can follow me at Macy Lee Jones on Instagram, or follow the podcast Instagram at myverbaljournal.let'schat. Links are in the bio. I should be continuing with the video component, so let me know what you guys think. But yeah, I will talk to you not next week, but the Wednesday after that. So I love you all so much, and I hope that this made you feel better about protein, and that maybe gave you some ideas of how to add protein in. And yeah, much love, Macy.